This is Eric Rollins coming to you live from a Frutinvente event hosted by the Merced County Republican Assembly. I am joined by Merced County Supervisor running for re-election, Darren McDaniel.
That's correct, Darren McDaniel.
And you're District 3, so what part of Merced County is that?
District 3 is the northwest end of Merced, the city, all of the city of Atwater, the former Castle Air Force Base, Beechwood Franklin community, as well as the McSwain community.
Okay. I can kind of picture that. I'm
yeah,
not
kind
from
of
up here, but
yeah, it's the island.
Yeah.
I like to call it the heartbeat of Merced County because you can feel the economic pulse.
So you're an incumbent, is that correct?
I am. Yeah, I'm serving in my third term right now, running for my fourth.
Well, why would you keep doing this?
Well, I'll be honest. I thought this was going to be my last term, but we had to serve as a county board of supervisors with the Biden administration, and we had a couple of our projects get caught up in EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers. And you know how they can embolden themselves whenever they have a Democrat administration, and everything just went silent and we couldn't get anything to move forward. And so I wanted to ramp it up, and when the new administration came in, everything changed, and all of a sudden we're fully moving. We've got our permits and we're moving forward, so I want to get these done. I'm not going to get them done by the end of the year. I worked really hard to get these projects up and rolling, and I want to finish it. I want to keep my name on these projects that I've worked hard for.
So in other words, your vision wasn't done. You had a plan,
I
you
had a
an
plan.
idea, and it just didn't get done.
Correct.
Because government works at a very slow pace at times.
Especially when you don't have the right administration in place.
Yeah. What is the main employer for your county, for your section of the county?
The main employer for I would have to say farming and construction is probably the biggest employer of Merced County, though, is UC Merced, a government employee.
That's a little sad when you've got great agricultural land.
It's very sad, exactly. And we get an influence from those, not from all their employees, but maybe the professors and stuff like that.
Well, and I know that they often have bribed their students to vote.
So that I don't know. I can't speak to that, but
I got a story, but I'm not going to get into the middle of that one for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it
They
wouldn't
didn't
surprise
vote
me.
to vote a particular way to show up and vote.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's not in my district, but Foster Farms is our largest private employer, though.
Okay.
in
I've
Merced
toured
County.
that plant. It's kind of amazing.
It is amazing. There's some rooms I didn't particularly enjoy the tour of, but
I didn't enjoy much of
it's-
anything, but it was still amazing.
it's reality, right? Yeah,
So you're an incumbent. You've done this for years.
I have.
What brought you into politics?
It's a very interesting story. So I ran my own business for 25 years. It was a concert festival business. It was a niche in the industry when I worked for Anheuser-Busch that I saw, so I went for it. What happened was a really good friend of mine was actually a state senator. His name was Jeff Dunham.
Oh, okay.
And Jeff carried some special legislation for the Gold Star families. I kind of touched on the story today whenever I was speaking. And what we had to do is we had to raise the money to be able to basically fund the program. And Jeff wasn't going to have it funded by the state. So we did a series of country western concerts, and we were able to put the money in a trust so the Gold Star families would not have to pay for their registration or license plates.
Well, that's a great program.
It's a great program. And once I got to do that, and I got to really get to know the Gold Star families. In fact, Mike Anderson is one of my best friends that I met through this process, and he lost his son in the Battle of Fallujah. In fact, this past weekend, we actually named a post office after Michael Anderson Jr. And Congressman Tom McClintock carried the legislation. We started it when we were working for Jeff Denham in Congress, but we were able to complete this and get this done, and I'm just very honored that Tom McClintock actually carried the legislation and got it done. And for him, it was about 5 years to get it through.
Well, again, government often moves slowly and inefficiently at best.
Yes, correct.
And at worst, it's a nightmare that controls your life.
Yes, but I'm just happy the U.S. Post Service fully embraced it. We had a big event this past weekend And no, it was an honor to be a part of it, and I was glad I was invited to be able to share in that moment as well.
Favorite thing about your district?
Favorite thing about my district, I think, is the former Castle Air Force Base. A lot of stuff going on. The autonomous vehicle testing, largest testing facility all in one place in the world is located out there. We have the Waymo presence, we have a Google campus, and we also have Transportation Research Center. And they're expanding beyond autonomous vehicles. They're actually coming into now air travel.
Wow.
Autonomous air travel.
Because last time I went out there was 15 years ago, and all it was an Air Force base with a little museum.
Exactly. Oh, you go out there now, it's completely changed. In fact, all those old ugly dorms that were falling apart are all gone. All the old buildings have been torn down. And we actually have a brand new inland port that's operating out of there. We're shipping products currently right now as well.
Why are you hopeful for your county?
Because there's just a lot of good vibes going on around here. We have a very robust agricultural economy. We have a lot of, like I said, the autonomous vehicle testing. We have a lot of technology testing, and we see it growing in the agriculture industry as well. So these little lawnmowers that you can just do on a nap and they'll mow your lawn, it's gone way beyond that, where they're going to be picking crops. They're going to be taking care of a lot of the irrigation issues. They're really zoning in because our farmers are hurting.
Oh, absolutely.
And they need the help, and we have a lot of these tech guys out of Silicon Valley trying to create this in Silicon Valley. So we've invited them all out here into the valley, into Merced County, working with UC Merced, and working with the autonomous folks that are testing everything out at Castle. And it's really a growing industry. It's going to be amazing probably in 10 years what we're going to be doing.
So you think there'll be employment opportunities? Because one of the problems with the valley is that, you raise your kid and then they can't find a good enough job to have a reasonable living, so they move out of the area.
That's true. And my kid, my oldest son's 30, my youngest son's 27. They went to school down in LA for a little bit, and they didn't like all the people in LA, so they moved back.
Well,
but finding good jobs is very hard for them. They're serial entrepreneurs because that's what you have to do in the valley, but there's a lot of opportunity with that too, and they're thriving, which is good.
I'm thrilled to hear that. What do we do about the homeless issue? Because I don't know about your portion of the county, but if I'm in the city of Merced, yikes.
Yeah, there's a lot of homeless here. And actually, Merced County is one of the counties who are reducing our homeless rate. I can actually stand on that. One of the problems we're seeing, and I see the frustration out of the Merced County through our Human Services Agency or the behavioral health, a lot of our folks are frustrated because they're refusing services. Mm-hmm. We'll have housing vouchers for them. They don't accept them. They have programs to get them to work. They don't want to do it. We're trying to figure out at Merced County, we have more jobs available than we have unemployed people in Merced County.
Wow.
How do we motivate these people to work? That's been the whole thing. And like I said, our county employees are frustrated because they're trying to give service to these homeless folks that are refusing service. I think we have to figure something out. I know we like to talk about everybody's liberties, and you said there's a lot of responsibility with that.
Absolutely.
But don't let your liberties impose on my liberties.
Well, yes, my liberties extend all the way up to where they infringe upon somebody else's.
100%. And that's the frustration part about it. And I have a good friend of mine who always says, being able to go drink a bottle of wine and be drunk in the park all the time, well, nobody can do that. Why do they get to do that?
Yeah. Because we've collectively lost our minds, and it's almost as if the victim is the ultimate hero in the eyes of Sacramento.
Yes, and another thing, what makes me mad too, is these homeless people are educated on where they can stay and be homeless, and then they have advocates that advocate for them to remain homeless. We should be advocating for them to get jobs. Advocating for them to
be productive citizens.
Be a productive citizen. You will feel better about yourself if you do that.
Yeah, I wish there were simple answers for this one.
I know.
Really what it's going to take is bold vision and people that are willing to create consequences
That
and force them to be in things like drug treatment programs
that has to be forced.
or mental health.
Or
In many cases, it has to be forced.
or allow our counties to instill the faith-based portion of it.
Well, those
I think if you involve prayer and you give them Christ, it's going to give them a way to get out.
and a much higher percentage of success. When you look at prisons that are faith-based, and there are a whole bunch in Texas, Florida leads the way in that, and the recidivism, meaning the likelihood that the criminal's going to come back and reoffend, drops by like 70%.
It gives them another reason to live.
Yes.
It's not
Realize
just a
there's
paycheck.
something bigger than him. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. If somebody wanted to know more about you, where would they find your contact information?
You can find on my website, www.darrenmcdaniel.com, and that's DARONMCDANIEL. And if you're on Facebook, Darren McDaniel on Facebook, spelled the same way, or you can go Darren McDaniel for Merced County Supervisor. That's where a lot of my action's happening right now. That's where I'm getting all my views. And like I was telling you before, on that page, we don't let anybody have the last word. We like to finish the sentence with the facts, with the link where you can find the facts. And it's amazing how many people don't want to talk anymore or reply on your page once you start doing that.
Well, I'm glad somebody's trying to lead the way on that, because there's a lot of nonsense online.
It is, and it can actually be very consuming.
Well, Darren, I thank you for this time.
Thank you
and
very
I
much
wish
for
you
having me.
The best of luck in your campaign.
You got it.
This is Eric Rollins, the Constitutionalist. Folks, get out there and make a difference.